Good Friday, everyone. I'm Cyrus Webb, and welcome to Conversation Daily News. Glad you all could be with us. Well, we made it to the end of another week. We're, of course, having news headlines coming up on this Friday. We have a message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By. And in today's Entertainment Spotlight, you'll be hearing a fascinating conversation with a 12-year-old from Ukraine. Her name is Yeva Skalietska. She joined me on Conversations Live, the radio show this week, to talk about life leaving Ukraine at the beginning of the war and her new book, You Don't Know What War Is, The Diary of a Young Girl from Ukraine. You don't want to miss this. Enjoy today's broadcast. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Friday headlines. In national news, Biden and Macron vow unity against Russia and discuss trade. Presidents Joe Biden and Emmanuel Macron vowed to maintain a united front against Russia on Thursday amid growing worries about waning support for Ukraine's war effort in the U.S. and Europe. Biden also signaled he might be willing to tweak the aspects of his signature climate legislation that have raised concerns with France and other European allies. Biden was honoring Macron with a grand state dinner Thursday evening, the first of the U.S. president's COVID-19 shadow presidency for a foreign leader. But following up on Biden's upbeat comments might not go as smoothly as that fancy affair. Republicans who are about to take control of the House have shown less willingness than Biden to spend billions on Ukraine, and Democratic lawmakers said Thursday they were not going to jump back into the climate legislation. In fact, for all the positive statements, Macron's visit to Washington has been tempered by his criticism of Biden's Inflation Reduction Act and the challenges both leaders face amid the mounting costs of keeping military and economic aid flowing to Kyiv with no end in sight for the Russian invasion. Despite the differences, Biden and Macron sought to underscore that the U.S.-France alliance remains solid and that the West must hold steadfast against Russian President Putin's war in Ukraine. Today we affirm that, as I said, we're going to stand together against this brutality, said Biden. Putin thinks that he can crush the will of all those who oppose his imperial ambitions by attacking civilian infrastructure in Ukraine, choking off energy to Europe to drive up prices, and also raising the food crisis. That's hurting very vulnerable people, not just in Ukraine, but around the world, and he's not going to succeed. Both leaders at an outdoor welcoming ceremony paid tribute to their country's long alliance, but they acknowledged difficult moments ahead as Western unity shows some wear 9 months into the war in Ukraine. In more national news, the Senate moves to avert rail strike amid dire warnings. The Senate moved quickly Thursday to avert a rail strike that the Biden administration and business leaders warned would have a devastating consequence for the nation's economy. The Senate passed a bill to bind rail companies and workers to a proposed settlement that was reached between the rail companies and union leaders in September. The settlement had been rejected by some of the 12 unions involved, creating the possibility of a strike beginning December the 9th. The Senate vote was 80-15. It came one day after the House voted to impose the agreement. The measure now goes to President Joe Biden's desk for his signature. I'm very glad that the two sides got together to avoid a shutdown, which would have been devastating for the American people, to the American economy, and so many people around the country, Democratic leader Chuck Schumer told reporters. In more national news, High Court to rule on Biden's student loan cancellation plan. The Supreme Court agreed Thursday to decide whether the Biden administration can broadly cancel student loans, keeping the program blocked for now, but signaling a final answer by early summer. That's about 2 months before the newly extended pause on loan repayments is set to expire. The administration had wanted a court order that would have allowed the program to take effect, even as the court challenges proceed. The justices didn't do that, but agreed to the administration's fallback, setting arguments for late February or early March over whether the program is legal. President Joe Biden's plan promises $10,000 in federal student loan forgiveness to those with incomes of less than $125,000 or households earning less than $250,000. In entertainment news, Jamie Lee Curtis to receive AARP Career Achievement Award. Scream Queen Jamie Lee Curtis will be this year's recipient of AARP's The Magazine's Movie for Grown-Ups Award Career Achievement Honor. Curtis will receive the honor at the AARP's annual Best Movies and TV for Grown-Ups ceremony, the group announced on Thursday. Ellen Cumming returns to host the ceremony, which will be telecast on Great Performances on PBS on February the 17th at 9 p.m. Eastern in 2023. Jamie Lee Curtis's long-standing, ever-increasing career shatters Hollywood outmoded stereotypes about aging, and it exemplifies what AARP's Movies for Grown-Ups program is all about. The AARP CEO, Joanne Jenkins said in a statement. And finally, in business news, Wall Street ends mixed in an uneven start for December. A day of wobbly trading on Wall Street ended Thursday with a mixed finish for stocks and bond yields broadly lower after the government reported that a measure of inflation that's closely watched by the Fed Reserve eased in October. The muted action comes as traders looked ahead to a closely watched monthly report on the job market due out today that will show how the labor market is holding up and how that may influence what the Fed does next in its bid to cool inflation. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for a message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By. Enjoy. Good Friday, everyone. I'm Cyrus Webb, and welcome to Words I Choose to Live By. Life doesn't always give you what you want, but it does equip you with what you need to learn, grow, and thrive. It is up to you to take the stumbling blocks and use them as stepping stones for your good. If you can do that, through every dark valley, you will be able to see the light. Have an amazing Friday and enjoy your weekend. Yeva Skalietska is featured in today's Entertainment Spotlight. We're here on Conversation Daily News. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with Entertainment Spotlight. 12-year-old Yeva Skalietska joined me on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about her brand new book, You Don't Know What War Is, The Diary of a Young Girl from Ukraine, is a bit of our conversation.
Yeva, thank you again for the time. Really appreciate you being here.
Hello.
Yeva, really appreciate you being with us. As I mentioned, the title of your book is You Don't Know What War Is. And as I mentioned, a lot of us, Yeva, have seen the news. We've read about it. But what has it been like for you to share your own experience of the war?
I'm really happy that people will hear my story and will hear what we lived through, what we lived through, what horror we lived through, and of course the world will hear the children's voices, which is so important because we are future of our world, and I think the world should know the truth from people who live through this, because we don't know no one will.
And I think, Yeva, in reading your book, and I've read it myself, and I've been telling my friends now about it, we're able to see how life started off for you in the beginning of the book as normal. Then, of course, things change. Talk to our audience, Yeva. What did you and your family do to stay safe when the war first broke out?
When everything started, my grandmother, she was looking toward the window and she saw this first explosion that and I saw that her near the window, and when I saw that, when it first happened, I had a panic attack. But my grandmother, she realized that she needs to stay calm because if otherwise I would panic, and I won't, I won't do anything, And only we knew that we needed to leave our apartments, but no one told what we need to do when a war breaks out.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning into this edition of Conversation Daily News. We'll be back on Monday with more news, message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By, and of course your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, our host Cyrus Webb saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversation Daily News today. Now let's go make it a good one.